I put them on, they slip off my feet. I probably should have tried them on before I bought them, but I didn't. My favorite shoes are... What size are they? They're a 7, but they're not a true 7.
For your help. 7?
These are my favorite shoes. I wear these all the time. I wear them everywhere. And they have duct tape on the inside because they started to fall apart. I will never get rid of these shoes. These shoes have been to New York, Seattle, Chicago, all over the country. They've been to Costa Rica. And they went with a friend on her feet to Africa. I also adore cowboy boots. I like to wear them with my dresses, my jeans. And my husband has been very gracious to buy me boots on every occasion. And somebody just reminded me that Easter's coming up. These little shoes were worn by Eli, his first walking shoes. They hang in my car. And he took these shoes with him to China when we went to get Ruby, because he wanted to share them with her. And she loved them. And she wore them and wore them and wore them, even when she would go to bed at night. I couldn't get her to take these shoes off. Of course, I imagined that I would have a little girl that wore pink shoes, not brown boy shoes. In the winter, which is always winter here, I like to wear these boots. Another gift from my husband.
Nice.
Very warm and cozy. So clearly, today is about traveling in shoes. I have traveled lots of places in lots of different shoes, and I have enjoyed doing that very much. But mostly my life has been about learning how to travel with God. Most of it I did not do very well. But as time has gone on, and God has made himself clear to me, I rejoice in the fact that I can travel with him, and that he is constantly with me, beside me, walking ahead, scouting out the adventures, and coming up behind me to protect me and be my safeguard. When I was young, I had moments where I did not even believe that God existed. My life was riddled with sexual abuse and spiritual oppression, and I lived in a lot of shame, a lot of emptiness, a lot of despair, a lot of confusion. It was not a happy time. I got married at 19. That was a good thing. Still married to the same man. 5 kids. We had 3 boys. I had 3 boys by the time I was 25. Brian, Brent, and Brady. 2 of my lovely daughter-in-laws are here, and my grandchild. But my 3 little ones were just small boys. It came to a point where I felt like I just can't deal with this anymore. I cannot cope with life. I was completely basked in the shame and confusion of everything that had happened to me, and yet unwilling to discuss that. So by the time our 3rd son, Brady, was born, it came to a point where I figured I should probably try to do something about the confusion and the noise that was constantly in my heart and in my mind. So I traveled around to see several therapists. I did the therapy hopping. Throughout those years, I still did not come to any peace within myself. Even though I saw many people, I asked many questions, obnoxious. I was diagnosed with several things, ranging from depression to disassociation. Finally, one day as I was traveling home from Spokane, we lived in Sandpoint, the thought popped into my mind that maybe I could ask God for something, if he actually exists. And so as I was driving, I said, God, I need you to do something. I need you to quiet my mind. I need you to make it so that I can just cope with life. I need you to do it now. And I need you to do it in 24 hours. If you are unable to do this, then I'm going to check out. I'm going to be done, gone, forever. Which was really something that sounded quite appealing to me at the time. So I went home, went to bed, and that night I had an incredible dream. I was standing in a very dense, dark, lonely forest. There were trees all around me, and the roots of the trees were coming up, and I couldn't really see, nor could I walk anywhere because there were so many roots, and I would try to walk forward, and I would stumble, fall down. Try again, stumble, and fall down. Finally, I looked up, and through the trees came these huge hands, and there was a light surrounding them. They came down and they swooped me up, moved me out of the dark forest into this wide open space, into a beautiful clearing. When I woke up the next morning, I was definitely different. The noise that I had always experienced in my head was quiet, and I felt like, wow, maybe I can do this. The problem was it was I still did not give God the credit he so deserved. And I questioned whether or not it was actually even God. I was still very resistant to believe that God had began a healing process in me. I was still afraid. So I continued to just travel through life, pretty much thinking that I could do it in a wide open space all by myself. And then I went to Women of Faith in Seattle all by myself because I wasn't super fond of being around people. Not at all. While I was at Women of Faith, listening to Patsy, the very clear thought came to my heart. And that was, Bethany, someday you're going to speak to women. You're going to speak into their hearts. And right away I said, no, that's not going to be me. I don't like to speak. And I don't like to be around people. God, you're wrong. The resistance to that was the highest it can get. But God continued to speak that into my heart. And he continued to nag me. Bethany, you will someday speak, and you will speak into the hearts of women. So I just went on my merry way, having that tucked in the back of my mind, traveling along the rocks and the stones and the water and the snow. Still not really accepting, but feeling a little more curious about who this God might be and what he was asking of me, which was, doesn't he know this is big? I don't think I can do this. We went on vacation to the beach one year, and once again I was walking alone, enjoying myself, and God spoke to my heart again. And he said, Bethany, you are not trusting me, nor do you trust my people. Well, that's not true. I trust you. No, he said, you do not trust me. And, again, and you do not trust my people. I trust Cliff. He's a people. Good enough. I want you to trust more. I want you to do something about that. I want you to reach out. I want you to tell your story. Well, that was a huge dilemma for me because much of my story I wasn't completely aware of, nor did I really think I wanted to be. So I went home and thought about that for a little while as well. That night, I decided, okay, God, if this is something that you really want me to do, then you have to send somebody into my life that I can actually find that's trustworthy, someone that I'm willing to tell my story to. And he did. And I did. And I worked at telling my story for a couple of years. And it was miserable. I did not have a good time figuring out all the stuff in my life. And I don't think my friend had a very good time with that either, but it was the most healing thing that I've ever done. Looking back and seeing all of that stuff and realizing that is not who I am. I am God's child, and He is working in me. I am alive despite all of that. And He is healing me, and He is making me into the person that He so desires, and He will do that for everybody. To me, that was just a huge, huge revelation. That even though life was difficult, God was still there breathing His breath into me, His blood pulsating through me, that He had actually died just for me. Through all of that, telling my story, reliving things that were very painful, I had the realization that this isn't even my story. This is all about Him. This is His story. This is what He has done. He has brought me through this so that I can do exactly what He told me I was going to do all those years ago, speak into the hearts of women, so I can be there for women. And I started to feel this incredible change inside of me. That, oh, people aren't that bad. I kind of like them. I can hang out with them, and it's okay. I can have friends. It was exciting to me. Exciting to me to realize that God had always been there, and that He had rescued me. He had showed me that I was His child, and that He loved me enough to heal my heart. He molded me into the creative person that I am. So I decided that I was going to really commit my life to Him. I was going to go forward with a passion and do exactly as He asked me to do. And I decided to be baptized. That was one of the most amazing experiences of my life. To be baptized, to publicly say to God, I am yours. Take me and do with me as you please. I surrendered to remembering whatever He wanted me to remember. And He healed the shame that was deep within me. There wasn't emptiness anymore. It was full of love for Him, full of His love, full of love for people. He made it clear that His calling would win out, not mine. And now I am here. God has breathed life into me and to all of you. And He daily leads me, as I know He leads us all as sisterly saints. I love Jesus. I love who He is, and I love who I am in Him. I love speaking about all that He has done for me, and I love watching what He does for others. So I'm here to invite you to travel with me, to believe in His miracles, in His trust, and to love His people.